Not only do you batter the media on this show, you do it for that old couple in Rochdale who take in the one-to-one that you do.
Do you know the beauty of that is I don't have you squawking in the background. I can have it uninterrupted without you getting all bristly and defending your position in the media.
So maybe Jack...
See, I was nice to Jack Grealish there, fair and objective and balanced, not calling him a moron. And observing.
But you don't agree with Stan Collymore, who's saying that maybe Jack should think about some of the pictures that are being taken of him.
I do agree with him, but I don't agree.
Somewhat bleary-eyed, having a drink or two. And this isn't coming from me, Jim White, who no longer drinks. Maybe forwarding a story about what it kicked off on a beach, some argument.
I do agree with him. But the question with Stan Collymore was banning alcohol from players, full stop.
Yeah.
Not banning bad behaviour during the course of a season. Do I think it would be sensible for Jack Grealish to be standing on the side of the road and midweek after playing for Man City in a slipper having crashed his Range Rover? I'd say that was stupid. But bottom line, the conversation that Stan was having was ban them from alcohol because they're children and they shouldn't have any ability to make decisions, and they're going to find themselves in a compromised position playing for big football clubs. They're two different arguments.
But let's just mention this to you. The tabloid press in this country,
yes,
the red tops,
indeed.
This is what they have a huge, voracious appetite for stories like this.
Yes, they do.
And they have a very large readership.
Indeed, which is what I said.
Who similarly have a voracious appetite.
That's what I said.
For this kind of subject matter.
But that's what I said.
So where does it go?
But what did I say?
The media satisfies the appetite of the readership.
You create, but hold on. I actually said...
They don't create it.
No, you do. You create the demand.
Subject matter creates the story.
No. You create the demand, then you feed demand. You create the appetite for it, and then you feed the appetite, and you keep on feeding it and keep on feeding it. But as I said, in that little section of this wonderfully viewed show, which doesn't feature you, I talked about the fact that the newspapers must be feeding a demand, because if the demand wasn't there, they wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
But there is a propensity in this country, as you well know, to focus on the negative.
Only in this country?
Well, having lived in Spain...
What about the tabloid press in Spain?
Having lived in... No, not the same. Having lived in America...
What about
some
the
certain
tabloid press in Germany? Built?
Well, I haven't lived in Germany, so I can't comment on that. What I can comment on it, and by the way, I couldn't care less what happens in Germany, and you're very good at this because you do it all the time. When I say to you, what about the hooliganisms in Italy? I'm not talking about Italy, I'm talking about here. So let's focus on here. Our focus is here, the British press. Not what happens in Germany, not what happens in France, not what happens in Spain. And I would much prefer we accentuate the positive. And the positive is that Jack Grealish is a talented footballer that every now and again does silly things. And when he does silly things, he gets called up and out for it. If he's on holiday in Las Vegas during the 3-week break that he's got, who gives a monkeys what he's doing?
So how do you write a story which accentuates the positive about Jack being on holiday?
Because he's bleeding holiday. He's got none of our business.
So what does that story look like?
It's not a story.
What does it look like?
It doesn't look like a story.
Jack Grealish, brackets 24, is having a lovely and well-earned break in Las Vegas.
But it doesn't look...
Jack deserves this after a tough old season, a season that he thought was harder than he imagined.
All right, well, let me reframe that. Why is it a story? Full stop. Jack Grealish's holiday and what he does on his holiday, why is that a story? It's only a story because certain segments of the media will say, look what he's doing during his break. So what? I couldn't care less if he's doing the dance of the Seven Veils.
But who cares?
As long as he's fit to play when he comes back.
But here's the thing. Who cares that you couldn't care less about that story appearing in the tabloid press?
It's a view, it's an opinion. I think most constructive people that look
at it's a tabloid media.
I think most constructive people with sensible viewpoints that have a balanced perspective look at it and go, what is the benefit of that? It is a story for a story stakes, lazy journalism without any substance behind it. Look at Jack Grealish laying on a deck chair having a few beers. So what? Good journalism is breaking news, not creating news, and not creating news around a player that's on a break for 3 weeks. And if he was doing it when he was playing football and not on a break, it might be a story.
But
it's
cobblers,
is what it is.
I'm not saying it's good journalism. I'm not saying it's bad journalism. There's an appetite for it.
Well, you want to debate this because
there's an appetite for it.
You want to debate this subject matter because you're not featured in the show. Don't worry about it.
In the one-to-one.
Don't debate it. It's called one-to-one. Without Jim.
I'm just surprised that you have such strong views about how the tabloid press behaves.
I do. That's why.
And being a former Sun columnist yourself.
And the reasons why I wrote...
Brackets, sack.
And the reasons why I wrote for The Sun was because I was told that that's the biggest circulation part of the News Corps network, and I should write for that particular paper rather than The Times. And then I used words of more than one syllable, and apparently didn't fit their audience, so we kept on getting subbed down. So I didn't get sacked. I said, no, thank you very much. Don't want to write for it anymore.
What? They distorted your copy?
Yes, they subbed it and then subbed it again. That's the reasons why I stopped writing for them. So if you're going to keep on this little nonsense about I was sacked,
disgraceful,
then I'll have to bring out the facts. And you can ask Mr. Custis next time you see him.
For those of you who've got something maybe far worse to do than a visit to the dentist, don't forget to head over to talkSPORT's YouTube channel.
Can we do it with some enthusiasm,
the
please?
latest episode of 1-to-1 with Simon Jordan, and make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.
Zach's happy with it because he's the one that films it and does with all the content, which he does brilliantly.
Let me get this bit out because this is too good to miss.
Has it got a sting of its own? We need a
and
sting
make
as well.
sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell
There you go.
to never miss a thing from the world's biggest sports radio station. There you go, that's done. Now,
there you go.
Your audience figures now are going to increase to maybe about
now
7.
Now you can unclench your butt cheeks and move on with the rest of the show.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.